You suck. Yes, you suck. You're wasting your time with this. You're a fraud. It's time to grow up. No one cares about what you do. If they say they do, they lie. You can't even get your friends and family to care. Not really, because you suck. And you're a fraud, and they will find out.
Does this sound and feel familiar? Then this video is for you. And by the way, you don't suck. And I don't know if you're a fraud, but we'll get to that, so let's get into it. Hi, my name is Philip and I make videos about music and creativity. And I want to begin this one by asking you a question. Why is creativity important to you? Why do you create? What does making music mean to you? If you haven't spent time on these questions, you're not really equipped to evaluate yourself just yet. Because before anything, you need to understand the difference between external and internal goals. In other words, goals you have control over and goals that are more up to chance. For example, I've noticed that the term imposter, or the idea of imposter syndrome, has become a real buzzword in the last few years. And yes, it's an effective way to explain the psychological phenomenon of not feeling worthy of your own success. That you're a fraud and you're about to be found out somehow. Which is probably a healthy attitude to have in many ways, to be honest, because good things, as well as bad things, come and go after all, and you have to remain you during both. Actually, this reminds me of an old story that really stuck with me, so before we move any further today, I want to share that story because I think it's a great introduction to today's topic. Once upon a time, there was a farmer. He didn't have a lot of money, so instead of a tractor, he used an old horse to plow his field. One afternoon, while working in the field, the horse died. Everyone in the village said, "Oh, what a horrible thing to happen." But the farmer said, "We'll see." He was so at peace and so calm that everyone in the village got together and, admiring his attitude, gave him a new horse as a gift. What a lucky man, people would now say. But the farmer said, "We'll see." A couple days later, the new horse jumped a fence and ran away. People in the village shook their heads and said, "What a poor fellow." The farmer smiled and said, "We'll see." Eventually, the horse found his way home and everyone again said, "What a fortunate man." But the farmer still said, "We'll see." Later that year, the farmer's young boy went out riding on the horse and fell and broke his leg. So now people in the village said, "What a shame for the poor boy." The farmer said, however, "We'll see." 2 days later, the army came into the village to draft new recruits. When they saw that the farmer's son had a broken leg, they decided not to recruit him. And once again, people would say, "What a fortunate young man." But the farmer smiled again and said, "We'll see." And that's just the thing. It's so easy to get caught up in the immediate and the external, and rely on that for our validation. But if how we feel about what we do is so easily swayed by the winds of external approval and short-sightedness, we miss out on cultivating an authentic relationship to and with our art, and with ourselves. Because what is your goal with creating things? I'm guessing for most of us, we probably make art because we feel worse if we don't. We have to create. It's an urge to put something out there in the world. Whether it's an idea, to share an emotion, or provide comfort and support, to showcase the beauty in something, or an attempt at soothing our own existential angst and loneliness. Whatever it is, we're hoping to evoke a certain emotional response, or express something in the hope of reaching someone receptive. I'm gonna guess that if you're watching this, you don't make art to be treated like a god. Hopefully not anyway. Because while fame and crazy admiration might sound appealing, don't be fooled. No, as creatives, our role is limited as one of being a messenger, and as such, we don't ever get full control of the recipient's reaction or interaction with our message. We can also replace messenger with conjurer or a facilitator of an experience. But still, all we can do as messengers or facilitators is to hope that the message or the experience is being received in the intended way. But if you lived long enough, you know that no matter how good your intentions are, things can still go wrong. Communication can still break down. How is any of this relevant to feeling like an imposter? Well, if the goal of creation is to share something authentic to the best of your abilities, given the skill set at your disposal at any given time, then it's pretty easy to know if you've succeeded or not. You know if you cut corners or got lazy with something, and you also know if you made creative choices based on ego, or in other ways diluted or obscured the message somehow. You know if you did your best, or you should anyway. And what more could you do? If, on the other hand, your goal with your music making is something much more external, like admiration, a certain number of streams, or fame, you now rely on something out of your control to regulate how you're supposed to feel about your own work. And not only that, but what comes after praise? Well, criticism. What goes up must come down. A big high means an even harder fall. And if you're too caught up in that game, your emotional life, your sense of self will always be a slave to these peaks and valleys. What I'm really trying to say here is, be like the farmer. Don't be so wrapped up in the external and the immediate. If your goal with your art is to be authentic in your message, and you're committed to your vision and your delivery, you can only be an imposter if you somehow manage to trick or fail yourself. The external world is just background noise. It's always gonna sway. Don't let it come between you and your vision. You're not an imposter if you're an artist without listeners. And you're not an imposter if you find success and feel like you don't deserve it. Because both of these are outside of your control. You control what you put out, not what happens after. And you don't suck just because you don't have a following either. And just because your friends and family don't resonate with what you do is also not a measure of failure. If all of a sudden you started learning Japanese and started addressing all your friends and family in Japanese, expecting an appropriate response back from them, communication would probably break down. But if you found someone who could speak Japanese, it probably wouldn't. Speaking Japanese to someone who doesn't speak Japanese doesn't make the Japanese sentence a bad sentence. It makes it incomprehensible for that particular person because that person is not the right audience for it. You see my point here, I hope. Don't confuse a lack of interest from those around you for a lack of quality in the thing itself, because it's not about that. It's not about the art itself or the sentence. It's about the relationship between the art or the sentence and its audience. They need to be compatible. So, what is the takeaway here? Well, define your goals in ways that you have control over. External validation is a random and chaotic metric, and if you attach your health and self-worth to a random metric, well, let's just say it's not conducive to being healthy and happy. It's a frustrating road, and it can be really terrible for your mental health. So, avoid being an imposter by taking control over how you frame and conceptualize success. If success means making authentic art, then you don't have to worry about being an imposter as long as you stay authentic. And numbers on social media won't change that. You're only an imposter if you manage to fool yourself. And your music can't suck if it is what you want it to be. Just like a Japanese sentence doesn't suck just because it's not being understood, it's about finding the right kind of receiver for the specific message. And as long as you don't lose sight of that, you're on the right path as far as I'm concerned. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.